Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Welcome, Catholic pilgrims, to our reading today. Today's theme is all about light, specifically God as light. We are reading from Book 7, Chapter 10 on page 146. These books served to remind me to return to my own self. Under your guidance, I entered into the depths of my soul, and this I was able to do because your aid befriended me. I entered, and with the eye of my soul, such as it was, I saw the light that never changes, casting its rays over the same eye of my soul over my mind. It was not the common light of day that is seen by the eye of every living thing of flesh and blood, nor was it some more spacious light of the same sort, as if the light of day were to shine far, far brighter than it does and fill all space with its vast brilliance. What I saw was something quite different from any light we know on earth. It shone above my mind, but not in the way that oil floats above water or the sky hangs over the earth. It was above me because it was itself the light that made me, and I was below because I was made by it. All who know the truth know this light, and all who know this light know eternity. It is the light that charity knows. Eternal truth, true love, beloved eternity, all this, my God, you are, and it is to you that I sigh by night and day. When first I knew you, you raised me up so that I could see that there was something to be seen, but also that I was not yet able to see it. I gazed on you with eyes too weak to resist the dazzle of your splendor. Your light shone upon me in its brilliance, and I thrilled with love and dread alike. I realized that I was far away from you. It was as though I were in a land where all is different from your own, and I heard your voice calling from on high, saying, I am the food of full-grown men. Grow, and you shall feed on me. But you shall not change me into your own substance as you do with the food of your body. Instead, you shall be changed into me. I realize, too, that you have chastened man for his sins. You made my life melt away like gossamer, and I ask myself, is truth then nothing at all simply because it has no extension in space with or without limits? And far off I heard your voice saying, I am the God who is. I heard your voice as we hear voices that speak to our hearts, and at once I had no cause to doubt. I might more easily have doubted that I was alive than that truth had being, for we catch sight of the truth as he is known through his creation. When I was pregnant with my second child, I was standing in the kitchen making lunch on a February Friday afternoon, and my husband just happened to be home, and all of a sudden, my water broke, just all over the floor. And I was about 6 weeks out from my due date, so I knew that this was too early for this to be happening. I didn't have any contractions or anything, but I started freaking out a little bit. Thankfully, because my husband was home, he drove me to the base hospital. They got me in, checked me out, they looked at our child. We didn't know what we were having, so they didn't tell us, but the baby looked good. But because they didn't have a NICU at the base, we had to go downtown. So an ambulance drove me downtown, and all the way there, I just had very, very mild contractions, nothing severe at all. We get into the downtown hospital. I'm rolled into a room. The doctor comes in to check me, and like within a split second, she jumps up on my stretcher and is still checking me. I'll let your imagination roll there. And she's like, we gotta go now. And all of a sudden, things happen very fast. I was being whisked down the hallway on a stretcher. My husband is yelling behind me. I'm just shaking and saying, what's wrong with my baby? What's wrong with my baby? And out of the woodwork, all these people came. They rolled me into the operation room and they start to strap me down, and the room is just full of people. I'm like, where did all these people come from? And all I can remember is the room was very, very bright. And I was shaking uncontrollably, and I just kept saying, "What's wrong with my baby? What's wrong with my baby?" And this face leaned over me. I know now that it was the anesthesiologist. And he said, "You're going to go to sleep now." And even though I was fighting it so hard, the light just faded. When I started to come out of the anesthesia, I slowly saw light. And then I saw my husband leaning over me. And because of the light, I could see his face. And I knew because of the way that his face looked that everything was okay. He didn't even say anything to me yet, but his face looked relaxed. He was smiling at me with like a genuine smile. And I kind of breathed a sigh of relief and I said, "Is everything okay with the baby?" And he said, "Yes, it's a little girl." And oh my gosh, the relief that I felt was so wonderful. I thought of this story today because of the light that I remember. As I was being put under, the light was going away from me and I was left in darkness. I couldn't ask any more questions. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going to happen when I woke up. I didn't even know if my baby was going to be okay. I had no clue what was going on. But when the light started to come back, I could see clearly. And because I know my husband and I know his face, I could see him and I knew that everything was okay. I had the knowledge because of the light that everything was okay. Now, for those wanting to know what happened, my cervix had clamped down on her umbilical cord, cutting off oxygen and nutrients. And she was breech, so they had to get her out immediately. And so I had an emergency C-section. She was out within 10 minutes of all that. And my husband had to be held back by 8 male nurses at the operating room door because he didn't know what was going on either. St. Augustine today is talking about how God is light. And when we are infused with the light of God, we can see things so much more clearly. Science makes more sense. Religion makes more sense. We are able to be people of common sense and intelligent thought when we have the light of God infused within us. Now, there are certainly ways that we can make sure that we stay close to the light of God. And thankfully for us Catholics, we get to consume God in the Eucharist, and that puts the divine life within us, helping us to become more in touch with the light, or to become like the light, as the voice of God says to St. Augustine here in our reading today when he says, "I am the food of full-grown men. Grow, and you shall feed on me. But you shall not change me into your own substance, as you do with the food of your body. Instead, you shall be changed into me." That is so cool. But also prayer can also help us stay close to the light of God, and it helps us enlighten our minds when we let God speak to us. Scripture, obviously, and of course, helps us stay close to the light of God. There are just so many connections to light. And when you aren't infused with the light of God, well, then you live in darkness and you just don't know a lot of things. The knowledge of so many important things is in darkness for you, even though you may be smart in some worldly way. But because we are made in the image and likeness of God, we need to be connected to the light in order for our minds and our souls to really start to understand things. St. Augustine here today is really coming close to the light, and he says, quote, "I saw the light that never changes casting its rays over the same eye of my soul, over my mind. It was not the common light of the day that is seen by the eye of every living thing of flesh and blood. No, it wasn't some spacious light of the same sort as if the light of day were to shine far, far brighter than it does and fill all space with its vast brilliance. Well, I saw something quite different from any light we know on earth." Unquote. And that's really what we should take from all this. The light of God speaks to our souls, and our souls need God's light in order to be more like Him. That is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you tomorrow for chapter 11, but until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.